So, another day, another night shift, and also another Stoic advice article by the howtobeastoic.wordpress.com site. As always, the link is going to be down in the description. So if you want to check it out, please check it out. And yeah, let's actually go. F writes, as a young child, growing up in my African community, I was indoctrinated religiously into a Christian environment. But for as long as I could remember, I started crossing moral boundaries early on. I lied and I stole in my parents' house. I got worse when I left my parents' house for junior high school at a boarding school. There, I met an older student who I looked up to as my role model. I walked with him, studied with him, and stayed in the same hotel or hostel with him. And because he was the smartest in the school, I looked up to him and imbibed every one of his habits. My stealing habit stepped up because he too stole, and I often accompanied him whenever he was doing his stealing. I did so many other moral or immoral things, and they are hunting me now in the form of guilt. I stole in high school continuously, and I coerced a young kid to steal his parents' money for me. I cheated on exams in high school, was a pathological liar and an harasser. But since March of 2015, I am developing ethically, even though I still fail sometimes, but not as badly as in my previous life. What can I do to erase all the guilt? What do you think about reparation? Do you advise that I go ahead and set up a scholarship type of fund in my high school? The 3 young girls I molested, what do you think is the best way to show them that I am really sorry? How about the young boy I bullied, and what do you think I can do for him? What can I do in cases where I cannot find my victim anymore? And to those I have lied to, what do you think I can do? Go and apologize to them? Now I'm known as a good person, but within me I am filled with guilt for my past. I told myself I do not deserve a wife or children because of what I made those little girls and boys go through. The term paper I bought, do you advise that I tell the professor even after she gave me an A in the class? What about the testing center I cheated at? Do I have to send an apology letter to the office? I also cheated on my high school leaving certificate exam. Should I return the certificate? I am confused, but I want to correct all the past mistakes as much as I can. Now we're doing greater good and trying to live morally and practice stoicism. Is reparation a good idea? An apology to those I have lied to? Well, let's actually read the answer to this question. Okay, this is a pretty big mess you made, apparently over many years. Some important details are not clear to me, despite the length of your letter. For instance, where you are a minor when you abused those girls and that boy? And what sort of abuse are we talking about? That word is a bit too vague, generally speaking. But it makes a difference both ethically and legally. It is also not clear at all what happened back in 2015, what exactly made you change your behavior so sharply. Finally, it sounds like you have a good reputation and some financial means now. Did all of that occur within the past couple of years? Despite these crucial missing information, let me begin with your last question. Is reparation a good idea, as well as an apology to those you have lied to? Yes, of course, both apologies and reparations are a good starting point, not just to those you lied to, but those you stole from and those you abused. A Stoic would say you have a duty here to face up to your past deeds. Of course, this shouldn't be done just to make you feel better or assuage your guilt, I'm actually not sure, but simply because it is the right thing to do. The things you did fall into a number of categories, and they are certainly not equivalent from an ethical standpoint. Stealing a change from your parents or milk from a schoolmate in a part of the letter not reported above is relatively minor, especially when done at an early age when your character is not really formed. Cheating and lying on exams over a prolonged period of time and with major long-term consequences is definitely worse. There's also the harassment and bullying you have perpetrated pending the ascertaining of what exactly we're talking about. For those cases especially, ask for psychological counseling first, immediately. Talk to your therapist and then consider reporting yourself to the authorities so that justice proceedings may be initiated as a way to keep yourself accountable. If that sounds unhelpful, then seek an accountability buddy to keep you on your toes. To keep you on your toes. It is difficult to be a good procopton on your own under this sort of circumstances. It certainly doesn't seem right to me, stoically or not, that you currently enjoy a good reputation, moreover are apparently taking material advantage of some of your misdeeds. The universe isn't going to fix things for all the people you have wronged. You have to do it if you aspire to truly overcome the person you were and become a better version of yourself. That said, I'm not here to judge you. I am in no position to do so with anyone really, as Epictetus colorfully reminds us, and there is a quote, "Someone baths in haste, don't say he baths badly, but in haste. Someone drinks a lot of wine, don't say he drinks badly, but a lot. Until you know their reasons, how do you know that their actions are vicious?" And Hedrion 45. And he applies the same logic not just to minor things like bathing and drinking, but to major crimes. So how can Medea say, "I know that what I intended to do is bad, but anger is master of my plans"? Because she regarded this very thing, the gratification of her anger and exacting of vengeance against her husband, as being more beneficial than keeping her children safe. Yes, but she is mistaken. Show her clearly that she is mistaken, she won't follow that course. But as long as you haven't shown it, what else can she do than follow what seems best to her? Nothing else. Discourses 1.28.7 to 8. It sounds as you, like Medea, suffer from a profound case of amathia, the sort of lack of wisdom that causes people to commit evil out of quote-unquote ignorance. I don't know enough about your upbringing to see who failed you, but someone certainly did. You were not provided with a good moral compass, so you ended up choosing a clearly bad role model, contrary to what Seneca suggests we do. And there's a quote. "Choose therefore a Cato, or if Cato seems too severe a model, choose some Laelius, a gentler spirit. Choose a master whose life, conversation, and soul-expressing face have satisfied you. Picture him always to yourself as your protector or your pattern. For we must indeed have someone according to whom we may regulate our characters. You can never straighten that which is crooked unless you use a ruler." Letter 11 on the blush of modesty 10. It is painfully obvious that the friend you looked up to was neither a Cato nor a Laelius, and following Laius could also be the case anyway. And following him made things much worse for you, as well as for those unfortunate ones who have been affected by your behavior after that fateful choice. Stoicism is a very forgiving and self-forgiving philosophy. There is no point in morally condemning you for what you have done in the past, nor is there any point for you to wallow in guilt. The past is no longer under your control or mine, but your present judgments and actions certainly are. And that means three things. Learn from your past and vow to be a better person right now. The second, see what sort of amends can be done to help the people you have harmed. And third, summon enough courage to face whatever legal consequences there may be from your actions. A better you does not get started by making excuses and dodging consequences, but by rising up to your stoic duty. Postscript. I have followed up with the author of the letter, investigating exactly what type of abuse he was talking about. It was rather minor in all cases, and the writer was a child at the time, so I have strongly advised him not to go to the authorities, but still told him to seek therapy. I'm also increasingly convinced that the pushback against going to the authorities, even in far more serious cases, is actually on the right track, given that the justice system in most countries is geared toward punishment, not rehabilitation. Punishment is definitely not a Stoic goal. I do, however, remain convinced of the usefulness of an quote-unquote accountability body, so to speak, as it is too easy for all of us to rationalize that we have done good enough and just move on, which is totally the case. 100% the case. We often rationalize everything that we're doing, whatever it might be, which is fucked up and bad, but I mean, it is what it is. We are human beings and we unfortunately are very smart. Sometimes it is very fortunate and, sometimes it's indeed pretty unfortunate. So what I had first thought about and had to think about and or actually wanted to say, but then started to read or chose to start reading instead is, well, it is something that is laying in the past. It is something that happened in the past, and it is something that was going on in the past. So does it really make sense to... I mean, it is fine to apologize and to be sorry for everyone you did wrong and so on and so forth, but is this really the best thing you can do? I don't know. I think going to therapy and seeking somebody that can help you and that can help you actually change yourself, because I do have a feeling that, even though people change and can change quite rapidly, sometimes, well, actually pretty often is the case that deep down, our inner core is still the same. This inner core that made us do certain things is still the same. And so for me, it kind of makes more sense to make sure to 100% that you're not going to do something like that again in the future, instead of trying to change the past and and make the past better. I don't know, I do have a feeling that I don't actually have a lot of points why I think this is the case, or why I think it is smart. But anyway, this is it with this article. Hopefully gonna see you the next time. Bye bye. Stay safe.